Okay, this video is about my being a fan of Tolkien and Star Trek. I'll do later. But these are my letters to the American Tolkien Society and correspondence with them when they wrote back. So this goes to show that, despite sending artwork and being very involved with their society, paying their membership dues, nothing really came of my involvement with them, no income. So, again, this is a case of being a devoted fan to a series of books by a famous author and, receiving no income for, my work and devotion to it. But nevertheless, I remain a fan and it does inspire me still. So, here's a letter from Philip Helms, the publications coordinator from the American Tolkien Society, thanking me for my artwork and use of my artwork in their publication. Editor of Philip Helms, editor of the American Tolkien Society. Highland, Michigan. 1994. This was 92. But here are some of their publications. I like this. So I think I got my work published in one of these editions here. Shire Talk. Here's a cute little Hobbit cover. The Bounder Goes Abroad. 93. Shire Talk. Trotter. Alright, enough of that. Here are some Star Trek magazines. This one is Cracked magazine, which makes fun of it, of course. They're getting sucked up by the vacuum cleaner instead of teleported. They're molecules. Caricature art. It is interesting because it makes fun of people. Of course, making fun of someone is not quite laughing with them. So it's not always the most flattering. Of course, some people are flattered to have any artwork done of them, even if it makes them look goofier than they do in reality. But it's cartoonish. There's Martian. I don't know. There's E.T. I always felt it was easy enough to make fun of me as it was. I don't need to do caricature artwork or be, cartoonized. I already look silly enough being a small person. That is, not the handsomest. Oh, these are good. These look very realistic. I'm Schmock, the special guest star. On the original Exit Prize, I could render a person unconscious instantly by touching a nerve on his neck. It takes this politically correct crew an entire hour of boring dialogue to accomplish the same thing. Yes, speaking of racial divide between whites and blacks. Yes, the black on the left side of the face versus the blacks on the right side of the face. With the yeah, it's colors are weird. It's like it really is race by skin color really is like sports teams, rooting for the colors of shirts that they're wearing. It's very superficial and is the worst kind of stereotyping that police do to not just skin color, people of different skin colors, but anybody that looks different. Anybody that looks suspicious in their minds, which means looking different, looking like you have a problem fitting in with the rest of society. I've definitely experienced that. People might, make fun of me because I'm white and say that I've been stereotyped or profiled, but police and law enforcement do profiling, and it's not just reserved to skin color, although that is a primary problem. Judging a person's skin color with a lot of people, but actually the way that somebody's dressed, the way they act, the decor that they have on their car, bumper stickers, the things that they're interested in. If I have a Stephen Colbert bag, does that mean I'm going to be anti-authoritarian? And, or does that, or, what does that mean? So it's, if I have a bandana, am I a member of a gang? Khan, there is someone that did not put up with the profiling. He rebelled, and that's what they're afraid of. They are afraid of somebody like Khan wanting to take control for themselves, wanting to, threaten their lives, even though they're usually the ones with the guns. I certainly don't go around with guns. And I don't know a lot of people that do, actually. Except police. Even in the military, I didn't go around with a gun. I remember that. It was very interesting to me. So, there we go. I'll just include Punisher and Daredevil since we're at 10 minutes. So, here's a case of drawing somebody over-muscled. Now, Punisher is usually drawn beefier, but Daredevil should have a lighter frame than that. He should not be a weightlifter size. He might lift weights, but his frame should be that of a lightweight boxer. Athletic, but more thin, like Spider-Man. He should not have that bulky muscle mass. So here's an example of how it's done pretty well. most of the illustrations in here are, you know, very muscular, but not overly done. And the Punisher seems pretty reasonable. I mean, he still obviously lifts weights, but is not Schwarzenegger. But here's a much more realistic version of how average muscular people tend to look. You don't see every single muscle stressed out. And first of all, clothing hides a lot of it. It's not always, you know, most people are not going to be wearing skin-tight costumes or clothing. So, you know, that's as thin as tights. So it makes more sense to actually wear more armored things. But yeah, here you can see muscles, but it's not ridiculous. I'll show you another example of being ridiculous. Here, the bicep here looks like steroids. Looks way too large in proportion to the head. Again, for the Punisher, it might be close to being acceptable. Still, that is too much in my mind. But here is something more realistic. So here you can see his legs are fairly thin, like average men that have muscle, but are not massively bulky like somebody competing for bulk, for size of muscle, by, you know, just doing protein shakes all the time and nothing but working out. You know, if you have other things to do during the day, you know, you're not going to be working out most of the day. Daredevil stays thin and athletic. You can see he has muscles, but he's not trying to, you know, it's not an unreasonable amount of muscles. These are interesting because he fights the devil, or Mephisto. Let's see, and the Prince of... Oh, here's the Kingpin. Let's see if I can... Boy, advertisements keep popping up everywhere. Alright. Mephisto. So not to be confused with Mephistopheles, which I think I did that in one of the videos. But he's drawn very interestingly, with spiky hair and a crazy beak mouth. Beautiful face here. I love the way that hair is drawn. I love the darkness here. Beautiful, beautiful creature. And his father. The line work is amazing. He almost looks like an ink blot. See, Daredevil looks believable, like a man who exercises and stays fit and fights, but has an average type body for somebody who does that. Like a realistic muscular build. Blackheart. Like the rum, actually. The devil that fights fire with fire, but is also a lawyer. But that's working within the system. His alter ego. There we go. That, that looks like a believable superhero to me. The one that is not overly strong. He's not Superman. He's more acrobatic. But, okay, there we go. Thanks for watching, and if they mute this, sorry.